Here we go, back up to a restart. Quickly, let's go over the overtime rules. We're about to go back green, but we get 2 laps, a green lap, a white lap, and then checkered. If the green lap is completed, the race is official. If the green lap is not completed, we re-rack and restart, and we do it all over again. After all 3 attempts are used, a caution can end the race. Here we go, green flag back in the air. We are racing again here at California. Already contact there with Joe Lawrence. He's trying to hang on. He pedals the car, but it holds up. No rainwater. Out front is Vicente Salas, and it is Lane Riggs.
A heck of a save by Joe Lawrence as they are single file. Riggs and Salas duking it out, trying to do what they can to fight each other for this win. Riggs is trying to find a way around on the top side, but as they come around, it's going to be white flag in the air, presented by Whiplash Simcams. We are going to make this race official, and we're going to finish it on my favorite number. White flag is in the air. Riggs underneath Salas for the lead.
For the lead and the win here at Auto Club Speedway, Lane Riggs finally gets down to the inside of Vicente Salas through turns 1 and 2. Can he hold on to it? Side by side still down the back straightaway.
Riggs is going to do everything he can, but he's by himself. He's not going to have the drafting help as Slow is up top, trying to decide who he's going to push. The nose in front goes to Riggs. Slow goes to the bottom.
Big send for Slow. He's going to move up the racetrack now. Brandon Slow driving Lane Riggs to the wall. It's going to be a straight-up drag race down to the stripe. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be, I don't know. Vicente Salas, I think, has done it again.
What a finish!
Wow!
What a run to the end by these drivers. Officially, Salas gets it, and Slow and Riggs tie 17 1/100ths of a second, 17 1,000ths of a second behind Salas.
After the chaotic pro race across the Yard of Bricks a week ago, our North American Racing League GT3 Amfield is in the spotlight and minding their best manners as they get set for their third round of Season 9. The road course at Indianapolis is always a fun but challenging place to race, but toss around 40 or more GT3s in the track and things get complicated in a hurry. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Speedway, Indiana. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Chris Winstone back alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of NARL GT3 Season 9. Tonight's coverage from Indy is, of course, brought to you by Baradness, by JS Consulting, and by Screw Compressor Service Incorporated. And if I sound a little bit slurry, I promise I am not inebriated. I'm broadcasting sober. I promise you that. I did have some dental work done today. And my face is still coming back from some of the numbing agents. It hurts, but we're going to press on. We got a broadcast to do here, Chris, and we cannot let the sights and scenes at Indianapolis go unnoticed. I do really enjoy this racetrack. For a long time, I actually avoided the road course at Indy on any racing game or anything else that I played. I've come around on it completely. I think this shortened version of it is why. The chicane at 5 and 6 I feel is much better than whatever they had going on with that loop there that went to the right and then back to the left and back to the right. I didn't like any of that. I like the shorter version of this course that just kind of flicks left and right on the straightaway down to turn number 7. I really enjoy that little chicane.
Yeah, it definitely puts a little bit of a kink in the race. It's one of those places where drivers like to play chicken with each other. And as I think you saw in the broadcast last week, you'll see cars just clobbering that curb and usually sometimes getting all 4 tires off the ground. It's pretty exciting stuff to watch.
Yeah, we will definitely see some drivers, I think, go airborne just slightly in turns 5 and 6 again here this evening. Qualifying is getting underway. While that continues for just a moment, let's take a look at the point standings coming into this evening, specifically for the AM drivers. And here it is. This is really tight, and I think it's going to stay this way a little bit longer through the season. I don't know if any maybe leader in the pack will emerge after a couple more weeks, but right now things are a complete toss-up. You see each win has gone a different direction, whether it's the sprint race or the feature race. It was, I believe, Thiago Tavela and Cooper Brownell at Red Bull Ring, and then it was Anthony Wayand and Jose De Leo 2 weeks ago at Spa. Anybody, frankly, could be in store for a win tonight. I think certainly front runners have to be the other drivers in the top 5 or 6 that don't have a win yet. Stevenson, Thompson, Alcrudo, DeMarco, but already Emiliano, I keep tripping over his name. Emiliano Almiron, he is looking really, really good. And I think the whole league right now needs to have the 22 on their radar.
For sure. I'm actually following him right now over his qualifying lap. His practice pace was insane. He was the only driver that got into the 22s, which is very quickly. I mean, for reference, it was I did, full disclosure, 22.9, so he's faster than my qualifying time so far from last week. We'll see what he's able to do on his actual qualifying lap, but that was good enough for P11. So he's got some real, genuine pace, and I don't know if we'll see. Hopefully somebody can pick it up, but he might be able to just, if he keeps himself clean and doesn't make any mistakes and spin, he should just walk away with it, I would think.
And there is a look at Emiliano on track, currently wrapping up his 3rd of 3 qualifying laps. We can follow this for a moment and see how he does here on lap number 3, trying to go a little faster than a 123.499. Alcrudo goes faster, a 123.325, and it'll be even faster yet for Almiron and for Sales, actually, as they both go a bit faster. Almiron, though, down to a 123.1. How about that for driver number 22? Dan Sales as well, looking quick in his Lamborghini. He's one to watch as Thiago Tavela's on track now in his Aston Martin. He could be a last-second swing for pole. Let's see what he can do.
Definitely, he's had some really good pace. He's one of my sleeper picks for some guys that maybe haven't gotten the quite the results that we could normally expect from them. He's one of those guys. And we'll see.
4.29, not bad. Bumps up to 4th place. He improved.
He's got himself in a good position, though. I mean, if you want to be near the front, try to stay out of that first lap chaos. That's very important. The further up you can put yourself, the more likely I think you are to be able to survive. As long as you, remember that you're not going to win the race in turn one. You're in a good spot there.
And our round 2 feature race winner, Jose DeLeo, on track in car number 78 in his Chevrolet Corvette. Let's see what he can do. Back up onto the front stretch here to complete his 3rd lap of 3 in qualifying. For DeLeo to the line, trying to get faster at least than a 23.8. It will be faster, not by much, but he does jump ahead of Anthony Wayand into the 11th position. So that is an improvement there for sure. Other drivers wrapping up their laps. Brendan Maddox, well, no, actually, he's in the pit lane. So we do have Clifford Allison out there, though. He's got a new paint scheme on that number 911, and it is good to see Clifford back out here. We'll actually likely see him this Sunday morning in the All-American Racing Network event at Dover Motor Speedway, as he typically runs on ovals, but wanted to give this road course thing a try, and that's a lap, at least. It's a lap of record. And I know sometimes that's the biggest battle, is just trying to get a clean lap in qualifying. So he's at least got one. He'll try to go a little faster here in the back end of qualifying in his Porsche 911. But I want to take a look at some other graphics we have this evening, Chris, because qualifying is about wrapped up. They've about put a bow on it, and we do now have power rankings to get to. So let's go through the schedule first. We'll build some suspense, I think, for the power rankings in just a second. But here's a look at the AM schedule for this North American Racing League GT3 season number 9. And here we are, Indy, February 19th. Next up, Mexico in March, and then that's the only AM race of the month of March. The way the schedule fell with an off week or two for the build and such, but from Mexico, it's on to Watkins Glen. We have 3 races. After 1 race in March, we have 3 in April. How about that?
That's good. Keep these drivers busy. They hopefully that they use the extra time to practice. I always liked when we had a pretty good break and you can get a few extra coaching sessions in to try to shave off some tenths here and there. But it's looking to be an exciting April for them. That's 3 really good tracks lined up for everybody, and I mean I think we're all excited to hit all of these tracks. They're all good.
Yeah, there isn't a bad track on the schedule, and there typically isn't with these North American Racing League schedules, but this is a good one for sure. I mean, you still get a little bit of niche, I think, here with Indy specifically, but Mexico, I think, now that it's on the sim, is going to be a mainstream course for sure moving forward. It looks so good, and I think that particular region of the world, really anything south of the United States, is kind of underrepresented in racing, especially in tracks on iRacing. So I think it'll be good to get Mexico into the fold more often, and hopefully we can get a little more Interlagos in here as well. But regardless, great racetracks. They're all fantastic. They get used a lot. Everybody's got reps around them, and I think it should be a very fun end to the season from here. I mentioned power rankings though, and I don't want to keep you guys waiting too much longer, so before we get racing tonight, here's a look at them, and look at Jose DeLeo on top here. Chris, I know we have the power rankings now for each series, and they're a little bit kind of wishy-washy right at the beginning. That's why we waited until after week 2, but I do think some of these guys will stay on this graphic all season long. DeLeo, Alcrudo, really the whole top 5 I think will stay on here. I think the rest might move around a little bit, and I think Emiliano is just going to go further forward. Mason Houseman too, likely.
For sure, those two especially. And it's honestly, it's surprising that, I mean, I obviously don't know how all the intricate math works behind how these are done, but one thing that's interesting is DeLeo, he's managed that despite having some kind of rough qualifying sessions. I think he got caught out by track limits in week 1, which happens. And also Hausman actually making it onto the top 10 there with we know he's had 2 now recovery races, having to start from last with his internet disconnecting last week. And I think also another victim of the track limits at Austria when we went there. So, and obviously Almiron's pace today, like you said, this is going to give him a big jump. So we'll see if DeLeo can hang on or if Almiron can snatch it from him in one swoop.
Once the camera cycles around from behind the pagoda here on the front stretch, you will actually see that Mason Houseman was able to turn a qualifying lap tonight and get one in, with the field. So he will be starting 9th this evening. We'll go through your full ATVO starting grid in just a moment, but there is one other driver I want to single out before we get going, and that is one of our typical broadcasters, specifically for the pro events here in the North American Racing League. He is trying his hand at racing this evening. There he is, Zach Lindgren. We've broadcasted plenty of races with him in it before, but not in the North American Racing League. So he has traded in the mic for a steering wheel. He's in the BMW. I pleaded with him to not run the Mustang. He wanted to run the Mustang, and I said, no. We need some variety out there. We need to mix it up. Give us something different. So he's trying the BMW here this season. He plans to make a couple more starts later on this season, but just trying things out to see how he likes this GT3 stuff as opposed to the typical oval racing that he does any given week. But cars rolling off the grid, so we can go ahead and take a look at our ATVO starting grid this evening at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Emiliano Almiron on pole, and I really... He's starting to make me feel like he's the favorite to win the championship already, but he has work to do. He needs to continue to execute. He can't just qualify good and run fast laps. It takes the whole race. We'll see what he can do tonight from pole as Dan Sales will start over his left shoulder. Starting back in third, row number 2, Miguel Alcrudo alongside Tiago Tavela. Those are a couple of hot shoes for sure. And back in row 3, Alex DeMarco and Dean Kerr. From 7th place, Diego Mello alongside Devin Jenkins, who was quite good actually back at Austria. And to complete your top 10, you'll have Mason Houseman qualifying in the top 10 for the first time this season alongside Mitch Buenaventura.
All right, moving further down, we have Jose DeLeo, last week's feature race winner, starting in 11th next to Anthony Wayan, who's also always got some really good pace, in 12th on the outside there. P13, Armando Arens, and 14th, David Stevenson starting next to him. Watch out for Armando. He's another very quick driver. Pierre Thompson and Cooper Brownell line up 15th and 16th. 17th, Armando Bejaran, and 18th, Wilton Palermo starting alongside. And then position 19, Mark Booley lines up next to Christian Gritsko.
Props, by the way, to Mark Booley. He keeps shortchanging himself in Discord, but he has been getting so much better lately. Definitely. I think some coaching has definitely been doing some work there for driver 199. Zach Brandvold starts from 21st tonight alongside Jeff Donardi. Back in row 12 is Billy Bowerman alongside Zach Lindgren. And in row 13, Dominic Turcotte and Richard Wolsifer. Starting 27th tonight, Logan Smith in the 17. He'll start alongside Wayne Grennan. And to complete your top 30, Brennan Maddox and Braden Van Wingerden.
All right, 31st, Jordan Hendricks starts alongside Robert Guagnoli in 32nd. And then 33rd, wrapping up the grid, we have Clifford Allison in that 911 with the great new livery on it, which it does. I really like that new livery. It looks really nice. So
we can take a look.
He can break his way through this pack a little bit.
I like it as well. We can take a look here at your Whiplash SimCam's race details. We will, of course, begin the evening here with the 20-minute sprint race that we're about to embark on. Then we'll have a 40-minute feature race, and already Emiliano getting a big lead into turn 13. Watch out. Admins might need to take a look at this start. We'll see. But as we get going, 20-minute sprint race, you know the rest. Nothing has changed. Here we go. Green flag. The AM drivers now at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And I'll cut to the chase. Chris, from last week's race here, what do you recall from Race Control's rulings on the start? I mean, that felt like that was way too early.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's for ours, the pros did a good job of backing it up. It gets really slick there. The one thing you don't want to do is start really side by side and real early, because on cold tires, it's easy to have a spin there and ruin your race. So I can understand why he's not messing around, and he just put a gap in. So we'll leave that up to the stewards and see what they say. But I will be interested to see what their ruling is on that.
I do think it is going to kind of inadvertently help us with incidents, as one car is around. That's the 23 of Maddox. Otherwise, I mean, last week it just felt like maybe it was the drivers doing it themselves, kind of self-policing to not start early. But it felt like drivers were being asked to wait until they came around turn 14 to go green. Tonight, Emiliano, as soon as he rounded turn 13, hit the gas and took off. I'll be curious to see what the ruling is. And Scott Reister has come in. So it was the drivers. Honestly, the drivers, because I don't hear race control chat. I don't hear exactly what the race control is telling the drivers. I honestly thought, based on last week, these guys had to wait until after turn 13 into 14. The answer is no. They can go whenever.
I was gonna say I don't recall seeing anything. So yeah, you're right. I think that was just like you said, self-policing. But this has worked out great. We have I think an entirely clean first lap. Probably nothing really to look there. We've got some guys making some moves. Everybody's, there's a lot of, we've talked about it before the race, there's a lot of good passing opportunities here. We're taking a look at Zach here as we go down into turn 1. He can hang it around the outside. That's well held. Now you're going to have the inside there. Now this is the problem. This fight can carry on for a long time. It looks like he's got the position. You need to bring it back around to keep the... Okay, he didn't make a move up the inside. You'll see a lot of late dives. People get a little adventurous there to set it up for the chicane. But patience is good. It's still early.
This is up to your top 3. We'll take a look back at Brendan Maddox's issue in just a moment, but Miguel Alcrudo was starting to put some pressure on Emiliano Almiron, who, of course, has the race lead after starting on pole tonight. And Alcrudo's Mustang just looks so big and beefy behind that Mercedes even, and then you see the Lamborghini behind looking kind of nimble. And honestly, in terms of mid-engine cars, I feel like the Huracan is kind of imposing. It's kind of large, actually. So for the Lamborghini to feel small, that's a statement for sure from the Mustang.
Definitely. It kind of looks angry in your mirror. It's one of those that you can spot. You try not to look back there that much, but then especially like that Mustang too, it's so big. And you see him kind of moving over a little bit, making himself seen. Try to get in their head a little bit and see if you can force into a mistake. Good toe here. See, here we go. Oh, this is Houseman going down the inside. Nice held, good distance, good spacing. Fair. Patience. He's not going to risk it too early. That's good. I like that. He's doing really well at picking his opportunities. I think we've seen he's very, good at picking his way through a field at this point.
He definitely can be aggressive on the NASCAR side, but yeah, he has been very calm so far with the passes over here on Thursday evenings. Let's take a look here as Brendan Maddox had an issue on lap 1. This is the only spin I saw on lap 1, or at least the only slow car, and he just lost it on cold tires.
Yeah, it's very tough here. I mean, it's a very technical track. There's a lot of places where that can happen, and especially those first couple laps. It takes a while to get the tires actually up to temperature here.
We're going to stay in replay mode really quick. This is a pass that just happened. Miguel Alcrudo on Emiliano Almiron, who started on pole. This has been a pass for the race lead. We want to see how it happened really quick. See, Sales went way left. And Almiron just pointed and went for it. Wow.
Oh, what a dive. That was a great move. He just stuck it in there. It wasn't late or anything. It was just nice under braking. Just out-braked him into the corner. Very solid stuff. That was great.
This has brought 4th place Thiago Tavela into things. It's now a 4-car race at the front. Even 5 if you count Diego Melo. This is a train at the front of the field, which I like to see, actually. I don't hate it, but for the competition's sake, I don't enjoy as much when 1 or 2 drivers get away. I really enjoy when it's a line of cars. It keeps everybody honest, right, Chris? I mean, you can't make a mistake in first even, or you're going back till 5th.
For sure, and that's one thing this league has had for a long time, is everybody's so close on pace. Usually we don't have a situation of someone just kind of walking away with a race. It's pretty rare that happens. I can only think of a handful of times. And honestly, I mean, like we said, we were talking about Almiron potentially being the one that could just, into the 22.89 is, especially for an AM driver, that is a blistering lap. So the fact that Alcrudo could actually, and maybe this is why it's really good, it's really important to practice on cold tires. Go out, do 3 laps, come back in and switch them. Oh no, Zach, what's happened?
That's deep at
Good
turn
recovery.
10. I do hope there was no contact involved, as he was racing with, it seems, the 55 of Zach Brandvold and the 73 of Dominic Turcotte. This is down into turn 7. Lindgren on the inside, and he holds position there a little slow at the apex, so Turcotte gets the best of him. Now it puts Brandvold alongside that BMW of Lindgren. Wolsifer right behind, and then down here at turn 10, Brandvold just sent him.
Oh, yeah, that's rough. Because you can take a lot of that inside curb there too, so there's not really any reason to hang it around that wide. But I think it was just kind of, he's fallen back on that muscle memory of what he knows from all the practice potentially, and you think you got more grip than you do. Yeah, just That's a tough one. We'll see if anything happens for that.
Yeah,
And a bump like that can really, I mean, you might have something bent there. It could be a little difficult to handle after that. It's a hard knock.
it's Zach on Zach violence there. I don't know. That's tough. I feel like Lindgren left Brandvold room, but it did look as well like Lindgren turned in slightly before Brandvold. So that's a really tough incident for sure for those two. But hopefully it gets sorted out quick, as our leaders have spaced out a bit now, a few laps in. 5 laps in to be exact, of an expected 15 here in our sprint race. Al Crudo continues to go fastest. You know what we haven't looked at yet is those weather conditions. It is a little more cloudy even than last week, and we had a decent bit of cloud cover last time around for the pros. But here you see mostly cloudy skies, 65 degrees in the air, 70 on track. The winds at least are calm. That's going to be nice for the straightaways and such, but the clouds are going to keep things a little bit interesting. Sometimes the track will heat up, sometimes like now it'll cool down.
Yeah, that's going to make a big difference in tire management, how long they last. By the end of a second stint, usually these are pretty short races, even in the feature race with 40 minutes. You know, you don't really need to change tires at all. But I found on this one like the last lap or two, it starts to get a little sketchy. So you always get and you know, that can be affected by the track temp if it gets too high, you know. But the lower track temp also, like, it depends on what you practice in too, right? And that could be maybe what we're seeing from Almiron, and maybe why the pace isn't quite where it was. You know, he's more comfortable in the conditions in practice, and then they change a little bit as the session moves on, and maybe now it favors another driver's style of driving over your own. So
I'm curious, Chris.
Powerful toe there.
I'm curious. Oh, you made a point there. My train of thought left the station. It's been a long day, but it'll come back. I promise. We were talking about track conditions. Oh, I know. Okay, tires going away. So I know exactly what I was going to ask now. When you got to the end of the race and the tires were starting to go away and it got a little more sketchy out there, do you recall specifically which corners you were having issues in? Because I wonder, you know, we have some faster right-hand turns here versus lefts. I wonder, were your rights going away faster than your lefts? Was it the right-hand turns where you maybe couldn't turn as well?
Well, it was really mostly with the rear grip, and I think that comes from, there's a lot of these corners where on the exits you want to be right on the limit, obviously, and so a lot of that involves a little bit of tire sliding. And at the Pro-Am level, I mean, you're trying to do that every lap, and so it's really hard on the tires. I found I struggled a lot with the rear grip here in places. Like, well, going into 4, so the braking zone for 4 is because it's kind of you're turning into the braking zone, and so you have to be really gentle on the brakes, or the rear just wants to step out. 14, the last corner, that one's really tough on the tires, and obviously because you're going onto the oval and it's flat out there, that corner does wear the lefts pretty good. So it wasn't really so much left versus right so much as, for me, the rears got really slippery. And I admitted I chickened out in the feature race. My experience is from practice. In the feature race, when I was doing recovery, I just put new tires on and took the time penalty from waiting for the tires. I chickened out.
Well, we're on board currently with Mitch Buenaventura. Battle ahead. Devin Jenkins looks to the inside here of Jose De Leo. This is turn 7. Good battle here. This is for 9th, 10th, and 11th right now on the racetrack. We were just looking briefly as well around the 6th position, where there is a battle now with DeMarco and with Houseman. Mustang on Mustang here, and Houseman starting to pressure DeMarco in that number 2 car just a little bit more, lap by lap. Watching a handful of battles. This is one, the leaders are another, and problems now for Logan Smith and Billy Bowerman back of the field here. Bowerman stranded in the grass. Smith is still moving. Unsure as to what occurred. Oh, this is a compound incident. Hello. Bowerman, where are we going, buddy?
Oh, that's a. I mean, you just missed the braking marker.
Yeah,
Read the
that
numbers wrong. That can happen.
definitely is not an intentional whiff by Billy there. He's been around long enough. I certainly can't imagine he would do that anyways, but you can tell with the way he points the car left and tries to get out of the way. Yeah, he's trying to miss. He just didn't.
Yeah, that's one of those where you get embarrassed afterwards. So hopefully he gets back on the track and keeps at it. It's hard not to. I've seen drivers do that before, and they're just like, well, I think I've had about enough.
Problems here for Armando Bejeron. We've seen a lot of him the last handful of years with this league, and unfortunately Armando headed to the pit lane early. This is a replay actually from when he came into the pits. Left side damage, it seems, forced him to pit and take repairs. He is now back on the racetrack in his Mercedes, but a battle is sparking up for the race lead, and so far we have not seen anybody sweep an AM race this season. When is that going to change? Is it going to be tonight? I think either one of these two drivers could do it, as Emiliano Almiron has gone back ahead of Miguel Alcrudo, and you saw Alcrudo flashing Almiron there. These two could be a lot of fun to watch this season.
Definitely. This is great. This is so much better than what I was hoping for. I don't know where the pace in practice, maybe he was kind of hiding it, or I don't know, like we said, the track conditions. You can see the big gaps in the clouds there, and as the sun comes down and heats parts of the track, that's gonna change things and kind of give different drivers the advantage in different areas.
DeMarco off track. We'll get back to the leaders here for turn 7, but that's the number 2. He was in that battle with Houseman. Here's your leaders, though. 6.5 minutes to go.
Keeping it very tight. And as far as sweeping, I mean, it's so difficult. You can see, because, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys, like we mentioned a lot, but the pace is so similar. So that means, or so similar. So when the field gets inverted like it does after that heat race, it's so difficult. You can easily find someone who maybe messed up qualifying and they have more pace than you, but they just ended up in P8. Now they start on pole and they get a huge head start. There's all kinds of, it just throws so many different variables in. It's so great. So we'll see. It's really hard to do. It'd be cool to see.
The whole field working down the front straightaway here at Indianapolis. Turn 1 for the leaders. We shouldn't see any lap traffic in this race. Lap times are about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and so far the back of the field is about 50 seconds behind the leaders. So I don't think there's enough time to get around to those lappers in this sprint race, but wait until the feature tonight. This is a shorter racetrack. We could have some lap traffic get in the way of the leaders towards the end of the race here in a little while. Keep that in the back of your mind as, oh boy, these guys are getting close. And I want to go back actually to the invert quickly. 8 cars will be inverted so far. Jose DeLeo, who won the feature last week, or last race I suppose, is in that transfer spot. Devin Jenkins just behind. This could be a really good fight the last couple minutes here.
Yeah, this is one that I was just starting to follow and check in on, because DeLeo, like we mentioned, he's kind of had some trouble in qualifying, him and Hausman, but they both found themselves in a really good spot now. If they flip that, it's going to be DeLeo on pole and Hausman in P3. And Dean Kerr, he's another one that he's quick. He's definitely capable of winning races if things go his way.
Whoa.
On particular tracks. Oh, there's somebody off in the back there.
Yeah, Mitch Buenaventura, how did he end up there?
He might have got loose coming out of that left-hander. It's really easy to lose the back end.
Here he is. He was right behind DeLeo and Jenkins, just got loose, and he went shooting out to the grass.
Yeah, he might have touched the grass on the outside there. You can take a little bit of it, but...
And then at the same time, Cooper Brownell goes around. He got in the back of another car. Wow. A lot happened very quickly.
Ooh, back up. That makes me nervous. Everybody's trying to use that curb on the outside, so it can be a dangerous spot, but I'm glad he got back on the track without too much trouble.
Stevenson and DeMarco here battling with Anthony Wayand. It's interesting, Wayand was, the sprint race winner last race at Spa. I'm surprised he's this far back, but he's holding his own. You see him dive back into the corner there ahead of Stevenson, keep him at bay. This is for 12th position. I feel
It's a
like
little mixed
Anthony
up.
randomly has races where he's really, really good, and then has a few races where he's kind of serviceable, still good, serviceable, not necessarily top 5, but top 10 kind of speed, and that might be where he's at tonight as Stevenson looks to the inside, and Dean Kerr's got problems. He's around, gets back
Happened
going.
right in front of me on my other monitor as we were saying. I was going to point out the track. This is a very technical track, and it kind of requires some different skills than others. Trail braking being very important here, and I think some of the drivers are getting caught out there. I think that might have been what just happened to Dean.
A lot is starting to happen here in the latter stages of our sprint race. Stevenson looks back on weigh-in, this again for the 12th position. And they're a little ways behind Armando Aarons and Pierre Thompson. Thompson running in the 10th spot. There is a battle deep, and actually a slow car. Richard Wolsifer just slowed down for a brief moment. He actually got passed there by Cooper Brownell. His name lit up red, and typically that means there's a significant slowing, so he might have just had to check up really hard there for Cooper into turn 1, but this looks like it's going to be 2 laps to go for our race leaders here in just a brief moment. They're racing the clock to get back to the stripe before the white flag. I think they will be able to get 2 laps out of this. It's going to be close, though, as Barney has got the green still in hand, so it will be 2 laps to go for Emiliano Almiron and everybody else as they cross the stripe here to begin lap number 14.
Yeah, David Jenkins really found himself in a great spot now. That spin from Dean has put him in the invert position, so he's going to be very happy about that. I'm wondering if Almiron's managing his pace here. I mean, you don't really need to. I feel like if he could extend that gap, he would. But at the same time, you don't want to push too hard and just give it away. You've kind of got, you're like, all right, I got to survive a minute and a half. I can do this.
Yeah, just kind of managing at this point, just trying to get through these last couple of laps cleanly. As here's the battle behind. This is for 5th spot, Diego Melo and Mason Hausman. This could be a fun little fight before the end of this race. We'll still have 1 more lap to go here in a moment, as Hausman puts Chase to the Huracan ahead.
If he can keep it that close coming out of this last sector here, then he's going to have a really good chance going into 1.
Yeah, I think right here, just follow. Don't even try to do anything down here in 12, 13, 14. Just get a good run out of 13. And he might have that as Melo bobbled a little bit. We'll check back in a moment as they get closer to turn 1. Meanwhile, white flag in the air for race leader Emiliano Almiron here in the sprint race. White flag brought to you, of course, by Whiplash Sim Cams. That battle for 5th, here it is. Hausman not close enough, actually. He's going to have to hope maybe for turn 7. Oh, he's actually hit him!
Oh,
wow!
No, he missed it.
Missed the breaking point big time. Melo has gone off into the grass and the runoff and everything. And this is going to put Melo actually on pole if he can hang on to it for... Never mind. He almost had it. So,
and Dean Kerr just got...
Yes.
That's amazing how that can swing so much back and forth just like that all of a sudden.
This is suddenly a huge opportunity for Pierre Thompson. If he can get there to Dean Kerr, that would be pole for the feature race. This is how close they are.
What's really interesting is Hausman slowed down. I mean, because obviously, I think he felt bad. I think he wanted to let him go and then realized that was not going to really be possible. But now he's in P7. He's going to be starting P2 as it finishes now.
Yep.
Which is... So that kind of... I mean, it definitely wasn't intentional. It sucks when it's so embarrassing when that happens.
Interesting how it works out.
Move on.
But here you go, off of turn 14 to the start-finish line. Emiliano Almiron will pick up his first win here of Season 9, and it will come in the sprint race here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The battle for the invert will go to Dean Kerr. No, Hausman to the pit lane. That's going to give it to Thompson. I think Hausman got a penalty there.
Yep, he got a black flag, which makes sense. So...
Wow.
He's going to have to give that up. So the problems from the season just keep stacking up for Hausman. This time it's kind of self-inflicted. Oh, that's so That's so tough to see. I mean, you really want him to do well because we know he's so fast. So, like, imagine what he could do starting P3 or P2 like that. But that's the right thing. I mean, obviously he blew it, and you took someone out, so you got to do it. Like, that's learn from it, move on. There you go.
Brendan Maddox and Armando Bejaran, they battle to the line. Maddox with some damage will give the spot up, it looks like, and then Clifford Allison will come across and complete the race in 32nd spot. Houseman did go all the way to the end of the line, 30 seconds. So again, he's going to have to fight through the entire field.
Oh, you hate to see it. It's just, sometimes I think I'm cursed, but he might give me a run for my money, honestly.
That might be the most painful moment I've ever seen in this league. Wow. Oh, man.
Well, it's surprising they kept it clean for so long. I mean, like we said, the first lap, there's only one incident really on the first lap that happened. Everything was clean the whole race, and then just that end just got real wacky real quick, starting with Dean Kerr's spin and then getting back up into it. He's gonna be a really happy camper right now.
Well, we can take a look quickly at a couple of different things. Of course, we can go back to the schedule here quick, and next up for these guys, I think it's going to be a home race for a good portion of the field. I know home is a stretch in this case, several countries away for a lot of our South American drivers, but it will at least be closer to them. That'll be the closest we get this season since we aren't racing at Interlagos in Brazil. So Mexico will be the closest we can get here in season number 9, and I'm excited to see what kind of focus some of those drivers put in. I wouldn't typically make as big of a deal about it, Chris, but I feel like in this case, a lot of the South American drivers put a big focus specifically on Interlagos. This, again, it's not quite South America. Mexico is very much North America, but it is closer. And I do wonder if being a brand new track to the sim, if they're going to put a little bit extra focus into it. It, of course, also has the Hispanic heritage and everything. So I wonder... I wonder. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see that racetrack as a whole. We've actually gone there, interestingly enough, not on the road course. I don't know if you knew this, Chris, but Mexico City has an oval.
I did not know that, actually. I had no idea.
So I'm going to throw up a combo of graphics here. First, I'm going to show you our upcoming broadcasts and talk about the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series that's racing right after this evening. They are going to Southern National Motorsports Park tonight. That will cap off their 12-race championship. You can see the other broadcasts as we've got more NASCAR-style racing on Sunday morning and on Monday evening. But keep Sarah in mind, okay? Super late models, they're on the left picture here. That's, a short track car. They go to tracks like Southern National, 0.4 of a mile, that kind of thing. Earlier this season, they tossed in a bit of a wild card, and they are the ones that went to Mexico City. They ran 90 laps on the 1 mile Mexico City Oval. It's actually very similar to racetracks like the Milwaukee Mile, for example, that NASCAR and IndyCar have gone to in the past, and even super late models have gone there, so it made sense to kind of try it out, have an international race. It was the very first ever for that series, so we've technically gone to Mexico City once on Pit Stop TV, but not yet on the road course. I'm excited. Next week for the North American Racing League Pro guys, for you in this case, Chris, you'll be the first race we ever have here on the channel on the Mexico road course. I'm excited for that.
I am too. I mean, it's a tough track. Well, I mean, a lot of us, we don't really have a lot of experience, obviously, because it's kind of new to iRacing at least. But from the F1 game days, I kind of have a little bit open wheel, just piddling around on that. But, I mean, it's very different in a GT3 car. The curbs can be a little bit strange in places. There's a lot of timing to get right. And just, it's just a real technical track that I think is going to reward drivers who put in the extra benefit. I would recommend. I've already been getting some coaching on it a couple times, so it's pretty fun to drive.
Might have seen it there. We did take a brief network hit on the broadcast, and I'm trying to figure out if I've lost connection. I don't think I have. Now I think I have. Yes, I have. So give me just a moment. We are... Yeah, this happened quick. Going to drop out of the session quickly. And Chris, you're still in the session, is that right?
Yes.
Can you give us a verbal rundown of the grid as I work to load back in?
I can. Let's see. You go back there waiting to grid. When they get to the grid, I will go over.
That was a random one. We got an upgrade to our internet package here recently at the Pit Stop TV headquarters, and this is definitely not what was in mind with that. It's been good so far. We're broadcasting a little more clearly, a little higher bit rate, but that was just a weird little connection drop.
All right, I'm trying to get the... Let's see, we got cars gridding up here. Let's see on the position here. Okay, I can kind of go over the grid here real quick. As we see, it looks like we've got, well, no, that's the position feature race. I forgot there's the flip, so I can't just go on that. So I'll do the top 8 in reverse order. We got, it looks like Pierre Thompson got himself into 8th position. We'll be starting on pole next to Dean Kerr. And then row 2, David Jenkins next to Jose DeLeo. And we have Diego Tavella next to Dan Sales. And then Miguel Alcrudo starting alongside the heat race winner Emiliano Almiron for your top 8. And then we have Armando Aarons next to Diego Mello to round out the top 10. Moving further down, we have in P11 Anthony Wayan starting next to Alex DeMarco. David Stevenson in P13 starting next to Christian Gritzko in P14. Mitch Buenaventura starting in P15 alongside Mark Booley in 16th. Wilton Palermo starting in 17th alongside Dominic Turcotte in 18th. Jeff Donardi starts P19 next to Zachary Brandvold in P20. 21st is Cooper Brownell starting next to Zach Lindgren in P22. See how he does. He's got 40 minutes to kind of recover now, so he's not in a terrible spot for your first race out. It's a pretty good job. Braden Vingerden, sorry, I butchered that name, my apologies, starts in position 23 next to Wayne M. Grennan in P24. Robert Guadagnoli in 25th next to Jordan Hendricks in 26th. Logan Smith, 27th. Richard Wolsifer in 28th. Armando Bayron in 29th next to Brendan Maddox in P30. And 31st, Clifford Allison Lee next to Mason Hausman, who had the issue there at the end of the race. And Billy Bowerman, who looks like did not turn any laps in the heat race, and that is your grid.
Well, we're still working on loading in about 40% as Spectrum threw us a curveball here this evening. I do want to quickly give a shout out, though, to our partners with the series, of course, Baradness, JS Consulting, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and Rocket Designs, helping us get to and from the virtual racetrack with the North American Racing League. And a big thank you as well to our partners, Whiplash SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. Chris, as we work on loading back in, where's the field at?
Let's see, we are right now coming around the back to turn 12, it looks like. So we will be starting shortly. Still a few corners to go. Everybody warming their tires. Starting side by side this time. We'll see if anybody pulls out. But it looks like Pierre Thompson is just kind of maintaining a good pace. There, the field is moving through the braking zone of turn 12 right now. Still tire warming. This is a big grid. More than 30 cars. It can get really crowded on a track like this. Okay, pace car is off. Coming around the last corner. All right, and we're going to start the race. It goes green. It looks like Pierre Thompson doesn't get way out in front, but does get a really good jump and finds himself way out in the lead right now. Back behind him, side by side with David Jenkins and Dean Kerr. Looks like Dean Kerr is getting a little bit swallowed up there. Let's see. All right, the field's going into turn 1 right now. Looks like everything's pretty clean so far, no issues. Coming into the technical bit at the end of the first sector. Still no issues. We've got some side-by-side racing with Dean Kerr, who actually is kind of moving back in the field now. He started P2. He's lost about 4 or 5 positions. It's really struggling on the cold tires, I think. Pierre Thompson still out front with a pretty good lead, maybe just a half a second or so. Still very close with David Jenkins behind. He's keeping him honest in his Ferrari. He's right tucked under the bumper of that Mercedes. That black Mercedes of Pierre Thompson as they come through the S's right now. And they're going to do last right-hander so they can get back onto the oval approaching turn 12. Still very close. I don't know if he's close enough to make a move. Nope. David Jenkins is going to remain behind. And it looks like they're mostly single file. We've got a couple moves being made. It looks like Almiron is very much struggling right now. He's found himself, but he hangs on. It looks like he's missing the front end. Almiron has some damage, and actually Almiron has just picked up a black flag, so his day has just kind of unraveled. And now he's side by side with Dan Sales, who you can pretty much just give that position up. You've got a black flag. You don't have to fight it too hard. He's got a pack of drivers too wide behind him waiting to make a move as he kind of keeps them back as he makes his way around to serve his penalty. Something has happened to Pierre Thompson when I moved away for just a minute. Now he's found himself back in P4, it looks like. And I will have to pick the replay up on this one. DeLeo has come from nowhere and now has the race lead and is actually pulling away. This is quite a performance. I don't know how he got around David Jenkins. But we're going into the S's now on lap 2. And DeLeo has the good half-second lead. Followed by David Jenkins in P2. Tiago Tevelas in P3. Dean Kerr P4. Pierre Thompson has found himself all the way back in P5 now behind Kerr. Almiron is in P6, getting passed by Alcrudo. Those two are racing at it again. And it looks like Almiron is the one with the missing... he kind of got a little bit into the back because he was trying to go into the pits, misjudged the speed and the entry there. Then we have Stevenson and DeMarco behind. And we've kind of stringed out into single file there.
And we've literally just gotten back into the session, yes, with Almiron headed down the pit lane in the 22 car. There he is, as there's a problem behind with, it seems, Brennan Maddox slow and against the pit wall there briefly. We'll just let everything settle in and try to get our bearings about ourselves as we check in with Jose DeLeo out front of the field. Devin Jenkins second, Tiago Tavela in third, Pierre Thompson, Dean Kerr your top 5, Alcrudo, Stevenson, DeMarco, Melo, and Gritzko your top 10. As, boy, we are off and away now properly in the feature race. Braden Van Wingerden turned around. That's a troublesome spot. Boy, those Mustangs are not having a good time in Sector 1.
It's tough. It's a heavy car, and yeah, there you go. Tires are still likely pretty cold, and now they're covered in gravel, and you're going to want to take it easy for a few corners.
Battle, though, heads up for second place. Tavela through for second over Devin Jenkins in the Ferrari. Pierre Thompson problems in the 18. He gets turned around there in turn 13. He gets back going. Oh my goodness, it's just not calming down. Now Lindgren and Donardi are racing. This is back here for about the 14th spot. And then there's this group. Melo now on the right side of Thompson down the front stretch. It is not calming down. It's right behind Stevenson and DeMarco, the couple of M Squad one's a BMW, one's a Ford. Melo and Thompson side by side.
Thompson, you really got to be careful here because you're trying to stop the bleeding, but you're kind of on the back foot. You got to recover, get your senses about you, get your wits about you, and it looks like he's done that. You know, he's kind of got his legs under him again, and now he's probably going to be more capable of defending. That was a rough fall from up in the front.
And for the second week running now, the number 78 Chevrolet Corvette has found himself out front in the feature race. And I don't know that anybody's going to be able to stop him. I know Almiron certainly could have if he was up here. Almiron, I think, and Alcrudo certainly could battle with DeLeo and possibly win that fight. But let's see, Almiron is down. Where did he end up? 24th, and Alcrudo is down in 5th. So Alcrudo has the best chance of those two. Still a lot of work to do as Alcrudo runs about 6 seconds behind Jose. And you know, maybe I'm shortchanging Jose. He has really gotten good here in this AM class. There he goes, fastest.
Yeah, 23.3, that's a solid pace. He's already, I mean, we're just now almost 6 minutes in and a 2.3 second lead. That is a magnificent gap, and it looks like it's continuing to build. So just manage your tires, manage your fuel, and, you know, you're in the catbird seat for this one, Jose, so that's great.
Diego Melo taking the trip down the pit lane. It seems this may be for a penalty as everybody continues on. This is certainly too early to pit for fuel, and you don't really need tires. I know, Chris, you were saying tires can wear out in this particular combo, but you don't really need them.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the only time you would really want to do it is in a very specific scenario. Like for me, it was I hadn't had a good result all season. I got taken out of the heat race, and I just needed a finish. I found myself up in the top 25, and I was like, okay, that's a good recovery from 42 to 24. I like that, and there's no pressure behind, so it's like all those different factors. But if all of those things didn't align, just kind of be careful the last couple of laps, but you can push pretty hard almost the entire 40 minutes with very little loss in pace. And there another fast lap, 23.3, which is great. You can keep that up without burning through the tires too bad, so that's perfect. There's Alcrudo showing his pace.
Alcrudo, though, no draft ahead. He is back here. Actually, he does have draft. It's actually from a lapped car. That is Anthony Wayand, the silver, black, and green Mercedes just ahead of him. As Wilton Palermo is in a battle here with Christian Gritzko. Battle for about 11th. Zach Lindgren right behind it. Let's see his onboard. Our own broadcaster.
All the way up into P13. He's taking real advantage, and there's another one right there.
Yeah, Gritzko
Excellent.
got out wide. Now Zach has an opportunity
you got a good
here.
run here. Good run. See, is he going to make a move for it? Go ahead, send it, Zach. You can get it. A little defending. A little late. Keep it wide.
Oh, and the three wide behind. Lindgren is going for it on Palermo. He went to the outside there and then the inside. Still looking to try and cross up that Porsche. There's just a lot of great racing all around him as Zach might now have a run here for turn 12.
So this is where you got to watch out for late defending if you're going to go to that inside. That's where you need to defend, and he does. So if you can hang this around the outside, you've got the inside for this next hairpin, and you can take off. There you go.
Look at that move from our broadcaster, Zach Lindgren. He's got some driving chops on him.
He definitely looks a lot more comfortable in this GT3 car now.
Yes,
for sure.
He has started to figure it out as there's some contact from Denardi to Palermo. Denardi in that Lambo trying to find a way by.
And this is good for Zach. If you can get these two racing each other, you can get some space, get a little breathing room.
Oh, man. Late braking there in turn 1 always scares me. A shoulder now given by Denardi out to Palermo, who falls back now behind Bejaran. Boy, some great battling here. Heads up. A little bit of contact. Gloves are off. That's okay.
Ooh, this is dangerous. This doesn't really fit. Yep, that's going to be a slowdown, almost assuredly. That's the problem there. If you take the inside, a lot of times you'll get a slowdown. I don't know. That was right on the edge. Well, yeah, you can see him lifting real early. I think he had to get out of the way.
Mark Booley with a new paint
scheme. You can see that big pack. It's going to cost you so much.
Mark Booley, one of the drivers, able to get by all of that. You see his new paint scheme in that blue and orange, kind of Broncos colors, Denver Broncos colors, with the green wheels and whatnot. I'm not a Broncos fan personally, but I do like the aesthetic here. It's a good-looking race car. Got that painted up by Rocket Designs, one of the series partners here in the North American Racing League, and it's a good look from Mark. I do enjoy it, as he is showing it off here inside the top 20, nearly inside the top 15. He's working on Brandvold now for that spot, as everything behind these guys has kind of started to space out, but right in front of him, here's a big battle. Brandvold and Gritzko down to turn 1.
Two Mustangs going at it, big blocky frames. These things are like tanks. They can take a lot of damage, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a little wheel banging here. Oh, that's so close. That's so nice. That's so nice, clean, tough, fair. I mean, you always need to leave a little bit of room for the net code, just in case. But, I mean, that was about as close as you want to get. That was beautiful. And you're still right there. You're still right there. We might be able to see another move here. But that train of drivers behind, that's slowing you down and bringing them into it. It just gets more and more crowded. It's giving him the squeeze. Open it up for the corner. Switch it back on him. Great switch back, but can he hang it around? No, I think you're going to have to give it up and start defending. Just get yourself in position. That was a great battle between those two. Good stuff.
Gritzko now regrouping as he settles into 15th spot. Up ahead, a battle now between Mitch Buenaventura, his teammate, and Cooper Brownell in the 49 car. These two battle for the 9th position. These are the two cars directly ahead of Zach Lindgren, granted by 4 seconds up the road. So Zach's got some work to do to get to these guys. But these two are the next two ahead. It's a Porsche and a Ferrari as they battle here for 9th position.
It's good to see these two cars in it, battling in the top 10. It's a good variety that we get here in the AM class, where, you know, people are working on technique and not just trying to cheese it.
Yeah, I do always like the variety of car. That's why I was pleading with our very own Zach Lindgren to go for anything but an Aston Martin or a Ford Mustang or even a Mercedes AMG. Just go for something different. It was a little more variety, and I'm glad he went for the BMW. It does look good having a few more of those out there on the racetrack. I know we had one of them ahead in David Stevenson. He's doing well for himself. So that proves the car can certainly go fast. He's doing a great job, actually, inside the top 10 tonight. He's been in the conversation a lot as he puts pressure here on Pierre Thompson for the 8th position.
For sure, and actually I think they just recently swapped. Thompson is still doing that recovery from, he had a couple of incidents. He spun coming out of turn 1, actually at the end of the first lap. Just kind of lost it on his own. That's the risk of those cold tires, and then we saw him have the other incident there. So he's recovering. It's nice to get himself up in P7. He's still in the top 10. You can still definitely find yourself in the top 5 and kind of mitigate those losses, which is, for the championship picture, that's really what you want to do. But Stevenson is doing a great job of hanging with him. Oh, you got somebody rejoining here?
Brendan Maddox has had a rough go of things tonight here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is deep into turn 12. Finds himself on that kind of motorcycle chicane, whatever you want to add to that. And then slows down there so that Almiron can go by with his injured number 22. And then Brendan on exit wasn't accounting for the extra speed and ends up going off into the grass there for a moment. He has just had a rough night. And go back to Tuesday's broadcast here on the channel. That was actually the BRB Sundance Pro Series at Talladega. And of course, I know, Chris, you say you don't know anything about oval racing. I think you know at least Daytona and Talladega are pretty much crapshoots. You know, anybody can run well there, but it does take a certain level of skill to actually win those races most of the time. Well, Brendan has won at Talladega before and was in position to maybe do it again. He and his brother Zach took the white flag side by side into turn 1, then they crashed. And everything went wrong from there. So he has had the championship lead a lot this season over on Tuesdays. Unfortunately, he's now a handful of points back, a few positions back of the championship lead. But he's got his work cut out for him these last 2 weeks at Phoenix and Miami. We'll talk more about that later on, as this is a battle for, I say a battle, it's a train of cars, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I don't think they're battling right now. I think they're starting to get ready for pit stops.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely about that time. We'll see if anybody... I don't think we'll see anybody take tires in this race. There's not really anybody where that's going to benefit. Everybody's, I think at this point you're looking how much fuel can you save. So if you're one of these cars kind of in the back, now nobody's saving fuel off of DeLeo, who's got himself a 4-second lead out in the front. He's just gone. Hopefully he's able to do, probably work in some lift and coast because you don't want to get caught out there, but gap came down a little bit there, but yeah, this is a very commanding performance here from DeLeo, who's looks like he's looking to put a stamp on the power rankings from what we were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, there's Jose now down to turn number 1 on lap 12 of an expected 29, and I guess it was the switch from the Mustang over to the Corvette. I think he might have, I feel like I recall him running a different manufacturer last season, but I still feel like the most impactful time for him was in the Mustang, as now he's in the Corvette, and now we've got a pit stop out of a top 10 driver, Cooper Brownell, into the pits here. This is slightly early, I feel like, but not outside of the window. I think the window is technically open.
Yeah, you can make the fuel last a pretty long time here, so I think he's definitely inside the window, and maybe he found himself in a little bit of traffic. If you find yourself blocked up and you think you got the pace, but it can be hard to get around, then you just obviously just save some fuel and try to get it done in the pit stops. We'll see what this does for him, but he looks like the first one.
Certainly the first of our leaders to hit the pit lane for actual fuel service this evening. Of course, if you go back to the Whiplash SimCam's race details, 45% fuel, typically in a GT3 car, you're looking at 55 minutes to an hour, in an endurance race or something like that. But with this fuel limit, it restricts you guys to about, 25 minutes, I figure, about 25 to 28 if you want to run it all the way dry. From your point of view, Chris, would you prefer to pit early and be able to get kind of out of traffic and do your own thing? Or would you rather run it dry as possible and then just add whatever you need and go from there?
Kind of depends on how the race develops. I mean, if I'm stuck behind, like say I get, something happens in the opening laps and you find yourself back in those further back positions, like Thompson or Hausman or drivers like that, then you might, you kind of want to get in and say, all right, well, I'll just try to do this and come out. Maybe if I can get some clean air, I can put my pace in, and then that'll make up the difference. But if I'm out running alone, my personal preference is just kind of run it until it's out and just see how far I can make that last. That way I know for sure that I can make it to the end. Like we might have had a little bit of a look, but he stayed back. Good patience.
This little trio could get exciting here soon. Tiago Tavela, Devin Jenkins, Miguel Alcrudo, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Could be a fun little fight as this race develops, certainly as pit stops approach. Battle here for 5th and 6th as well. Teammates, Dean Kerr and Alex DeMarco. They pass a car exiting the pit lane. That, I believe, is Wilton Palermo. Pierre Thompson's kind of on his own now in 7th. David Stevenson 8th. Mitch Buenaventura back here in 9th. And, who is closing on him is Zach Lindgren in that number 85. He is starting to draw closer to Buenaventura in that Porsche. So we may be able to get a top 10 out of our broadcaster. Wouldn't that be cool today?
That would be great. I mean, it looks like it's definitely possible. He's gotten really comfortable, clearly. He's kind of hit his stride, it looks like. He's using the track, and he's just slowly but steadily, kind of quietly making up a lot of positions. And to find yourself in the top 10 on your first attempt in this league is, even in AMS, that's very impressive. That's quite an accomplishment. We'll see what happens after the pit stops. You might be able to make up a few more positions.
Meanwhile, Devin Jenkins has lost the 3rd spot. I told you it could be a fun little fight between these guys soon. He ends up getting passed by Alcrudo here at the back end of this lap as they come around to complete the first half of racing, more or less, as lap 14 goes in the books for these drivers.
And this is all great for DeLeo, too. These guys, every once in a while, kind of trying to make an attempt, go and overtake. That's all just a little bit extra time you get. That's a little bit more fuel you can save. So it's working out. This is all working out perfect for Jose.
There's a look from Armando Aarons, who's going to blend back into the field here. He is a lap down. Aarons has been good in the past. I'm surprised he's having an off season here, but he's trying to let these guys go by. That was Thompson going by. Stevenson now will try to do the same. Stevenson in that BMW on driver's left. He goes by now, and it will be Aarons and Palermo battling deep for the 25th position as our leaders continue on. And I do wonder, if you're DeLeo, do you want to maybe go ahead and get your pit stop out of the way? I feel like if I'm in DeLeo's position, I'm probably not going to lose the lead if I do pit early. So do I maybe want to get the pit stop over with to get the anxiety out of my system?
Could do. I mean, that's one. I don't know. With a lead like this, it would be hard to go too wrong. The only risk is, as short as the track is, if you pit early, the earlier you pit, you do run the risk of getting out behind slower cars, which could make up a difference. So it's almost better you've got the clean air, and you're not going to run into anybody before they start pitting. Like, almost assuredly. You should be able to get there. So stay out, so nothing's in front of you, and just pit after everyone else has.
Armando Aarons must have had a pit stop violation of sorts, whether it was speeding, I doubt it, or more likely a blend line violation. He has come back down the pit lane, despite already being released onto the racetrack, and he is just driving through at this point. So the number 7, suddenly his day has gotten worse. 18 minutes to go. Of course, once these pit stops wrap up, we will go ahead and nominate our 4 drivers as per usual for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, this would be your call to get over to YouTube, at least long enough to make your vote, and then head back over to your platform of choice. But unfortunately, we can really only do the vote on YouTube, and unfortunately, we can only add 4 drivers to the poll. So we're a little bit limited, but that also kind of makes us really focus on who has been impactful today. And unfortunately, I think this might be the first time we don't mention this guy. And he kind of shot himself in the foot there at the end of the sprint race and has been relatively unimpactful here in the feature race for the first time.
Yeah, it looked like he was kind of struggling for pace here to begin with, and then with the compounded issues of just, you bungle a braking marker and it can all just go wrong that quickly. And like you said, it's the first time we haven't seen him really cut through the field, but he doesn't really have the pace here compared to the other tracks. I think that might have to do with the kind of more technical nature of this track, even, where it's so hard to get the braking right. And you just really need to be very comfortable with the car you're in order to do well here.
A lot of cars hitting the pits. Mitch Bonaventura, Zach Lindgren, looks like Zach Branfold perhaps. Yeah, Zach Branfold and more. All coming in here just past halfway. Bonaventura waiting on the timer. You see Lindgren leave his box. And Bonaventura at 12.6, Lindgren 13.12. I'm surprised that Lindgren took more fuel, but it could be a matter of how these cars actually burn their fuel. They are a little bit different, each one. And Branfold in the Mustang, 14.15. Smith in the McLaren, I think the only McLaren I've seen sign in so far this season, he takes 13.1 seconds of fuel. And then in the pit lane now, Braden Van Wingerden in the orange-trimmed Spirit Racing cars. He comes in, and look at that. A leader comes in finally. Miguel Alcrudo will pit.
It'd be interesting to see what his time is versus some of the oval guys. I'm wondering if maybe they're taking a little bit more fuel. Maybe they're used to more margin just in case of overtime or something. And maybe they have their automatic fueling set up to do that. Versus the GT3 guys, who I know a lot of these guys, they have, if they go through turn 1 after the race, the engine will start cutting out. So they run it pretty close to the vest. Pretty tight.
And all these drivers will come into their box. I do see Emiliano Almiron into the pit lane back there as well to make his fuel stop. He should get that fast repair and get back on the racetrack with a brand new front bumper and be able to get back to race pace.
It's going to help a lot. We'll see what he can do with it. See how many positions he can make back up after the kind of disaster that he ran into. But, you know, you're trying to, basically at this point, just trying to save your drop race for a bigger disaster. And here comes the leader. Here comes DeLeo with his 5-second lead.
Tavella will follow. There's DeLeo to the pit line. See a bunch of the cars going by. There is Tiago Tavella coming in and Devin Jenkins following. This should also bring in Dean Kerr. There he is in the purple Mercedes. And I expect Pierre Thompson shortly behind. There he is in the black Mercedes. Jeff Denardi should be next, but he is much further back. There he is, just getting into turn 13 in his Lamborghini Huracan. He finds his way onto the pit access road just ahead of his teammate, Diego Mello, who has not yet pitted, served a penalty earlier, but needs to pit, I would imagine, this time by. And, you know, for the oval guys that are making the transition over here to the North American Racing League, I think a lot of them got their introduction to a very similar strategy to what we've seen our road racers do over here for a couple of years now. When they ran, well, Daytona or the BRB race at Talladega this past week, they were running half throttle, 60% throttle at times in the pack, running slower laps, saving fuel, trying to hit numbers to get to the end of the race, and take as little time on pit lane as possible. And I think that strategy that we've seen in road racing the last handful of years here has kind of made its way over to oval. We see it now even in the Daytona 500, and it's become a point of contention. So I think they might need to start saving a little more gas, because those second or two that you lose in the pit stop here on these road courses, that is a big difference on the racetrack when you get back to full speed. So maybe they make some more adjustments as the season goes, as Devin Jenkins looks to the inside here of Miguel Alcrudo. This is for third spot.
Yeah, David Jenkins still's got his eyes on that podium spot, trying to make up. It'd be nice to see, nice to get an old Ferrari on the podium. I always like to see that, but thought better of it that time. Just stay close and you'll have more opportunities. Still a lot of racing left with 13 minutes.
Speaking of Ferraris, Cooper Brownell battling here with Mitch Buenaventura. This is a Ferrari leading a Porsche for 9th and 10th. And it brings Zach Lindgren ever closer. That BMW getting bigger and bigger in their mirrors. I'm going to have to find an alternate producer one week and lead commentator. And I'm going to have to go see what I can do now. Because Zach Lindgren is setting the benchmark of what a broadcaster can do in this AM race. And he is doing a fantastic job. We already knew Mason House was doing a fantastic job for an oval racer heading over into this league. But now toss in Lindgren, an oval racer and a broadcaster doing it. He is setting a very high bar. I don't know how I'll be able to manage to get an alternate producer, but at some point that's going to have to happen, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all want to see that. We'll see you get out of the booth a little bit and go mix it up with the guys on track.
Well, I guess Scott heard me when I incorrectly said earlier that the leaders had to wait on the iRacing green flag. So Scott, if you're still listening, I wonder what you think of that. But Zach Lindgren doing a great job tonight. I certainly do want to see him in more races, but he's got to contend with these two who are having a fantastic fight. Buenaventura back on the right side now into turn 7. The braking zone on the outside becomes the inside here for the next corner at turn 8. Can't do it. Straight up heads-up racing between these two. Oh, big contact.
Oh, there you go. That's the opportunity you need right there. Good work, Zach. Just nice little thank you very much. I'll take that. Now watch the inside because he's going to be wanting to get that back. Watch for a lunge here. Nope. Okay, good. Very patient racing. I'm paranoid now from the pro-am races. I'm expecting a little bit of a send, but they're very well behaved so far.
See the flash there.
Didn't really like that so much.
I can't blame him. I wouldn't like it either, but I don't know that Cooper did anything wrong necessarily. You're certainly allowed to be frustrated, but I don't know that Cooper was in the wrong. But into the braking zone now for turn 1. Brownell hard on the brakes. Lindgren looking for a way by. There are battles ahead, but none quite as good as this right now. So we'll keep our eyes here as Lindgren now sets up for a move maybe in turn 4. Oh, that was close on the inside. The chicane now. Making that move, though, is going to bring Buenaventura back into it by turn 7.
But this is good, though. You saw that little slip from the Ferrari, that traction, that's what I was talking about. The rear is real loose. And he missed the apex going into it, too. So that sets him up for this.
Wow.
Yeah, you have so much good pace down the outside, but, we can't hang it. That was real close, but tough. But that's what you got to do. You can see there's starting to be cracks in the armor there. Just keep close. It's tough being that middle car, but if you can keep close there, I think you're going to pick that position up soon.
Well, Zach's in a
Just
tough
got to
spot.
keep the pressure on.
Not only is he a rookie to this series, but he's also in a blockier car, a bigger, boatier car. So he's trying to make a pass, obviously, in a car that's harder to turn. And especially when you get the draft there into a braking zone like turn 7, you're also going faster when you hit the brakes. So you're trying to slow the car down more than usual and get it to turn on the outside of the corner, all while the mid-engine Ferrari can just point at the inside of the corner and have the advantage there. So Zach Lindgren in the BMW at a disadvantage. Let's see how turn 1 goes. You see Mitch kind of waiting in the wings. Lindgren goes back around the outside. Cooper on the inside. Oh, Cooper almost gives him a shoulder there.
Can he hold
loose.
it? Oh, nice, but well held. That's some of that oval experience. Used to saving those slides. There you go. But look, you can see again. You see the track, like how much track they're using. The Ferrari's missing the apex there. Now he's not using all the track through that chicane, but that's not really. I mean, that's not going to make any difference. But missing that apex, Zach looks much more comfortable in his car right now, and you can see he's able to kind of get better angles on things. Look at how much wider. He keeps it so much further to the left there so that he just has that better angle, and it opens up all the corners for him. And he's just doing that corner after corner. And the pressure is really starting to build.
So that brief moment there with Anthony way into the pit lane. Let's see this fight here to turn 12, and then we got to hit driver of the day before this race wraps up. Brownell keeps the spot, but Lindgren back on the inside now for 13. He's not letting that Ferrari get too far away. Oh, and again, he's going to have to wait. So, Chris, we'll keep watching this fight in the background, but let's see. Who do you have for your first nomination for driver of the day today?
I think for me, this is the easiest one so far, I think. I mean, obviously, you always feel a little bit guilty doing it, but I'm going to go with the race leader, DeLeo, because, he didn't start in the lead. He qualified P12 for the heat race, got himself in position for the invert, but then got extra positions because of a little bit of chaos, but then managed to take advantage of a self-inflicted wound of Pierre Thompson when he kind of lost it coming out of the last corner at the end of the first lap, and that caused Stevenson to check up, and then he went into the lead, and then ever since he got that, he's just been putting a gap on him. So definitely DeLeo is my first choice. Now for number 2, there's a few different ways to go, but I feel like, I don't know, this might be, would it be bad if I said Zach? I mean, it's your first time, you're not used to this style of racing, you're definitely not used to this league, you just threw yourself in the blender and on a very technical track. This is not an easy track to learn how to race these cars on, with as much finesse as it kind of requires, and yet as the race goes on, you can see he just looks more and more comfortable as he goes on, and to find yourself in the top 10. And I don't know if he's done. I think he might be able to eventually get around there. He's buying his time, but he might be able to get that P9 too. So he's my second choice.
There you go. I didn't have to do it. I appreciate that. You're saving me from picking my best friend and our broadcaster. So I appreciate it. But I'm going to go through. I'm actually going to nominate Miguel Alcrudo. He has been very fast today. Very, very quick. And I know it didn't really pan out for him once this race got back green. I think the track position for Jose certainly is a big part of that. And obviously Miguel had to come back from 7th place. So, he did finish second at the sprint. Give him an opportunity maybe to start, in a better position or have a better start at least, in one of these endurance races next time around. And I think Miguel has some wins in his very near future. So Miguel Alcrudo is going to get a nod from me, certainly, for driver of the day today. And we'll see if his fan base checks in. Looking down through the rest of the field, I want to look at positions gained, actually, and see who else has come through the field significantly. Brownell has. You know what? Ooh. Man, I've got a toss-up.
I just noticed.
Yep. We just noticed two of probably the same thing, but I also noticed somebody else.
Yeah.
I think we both noticed who's in 14th, so I'll go to who's in 12th first. Armando Bejaran from 29th. up here into the 12th spot. He didn't have a great sprint race, obviously, and has come back out here and has nearly gone top 10. And frankly, if Brownell, Lindgren, and Buenaventura keep battling, I wouldn't rule out top 10. He's right behind them. I wouldn't rule out top 10 for Armando. I think I'm going to nominate him, but I'm going to focus on the one that we noticed first, and that is going to be Mason Houseman. Up back into the top 15. I'm only going to skip him because it's self-inflicted. He did it to himself.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Before, it was kind of issues with internet and getting used to the car, and Austria's got those really tricky track limits in turn 1. I'm sure it was something like that, but this time. But I mean, again, you want to see. I really want to see what he can do, actually starting from his qualifying position and actually being able to finish a race, because he does have outstanding pace. And there's so many people. It seemed easy, but then there's others that definitely you could look at. Dean Kerr is another one. He's had a rough, start to the season. It hasn't been. Oh, there we see. Oh no, that
was Mark Booley out in the grass.
Yeah.
Oh. This is for second. We were looking at this briefly, kind of cycling through the top 3 battles on the racetrack right now. This is Tiago Tavela, Miguel Alcrudo, and Devin Jenkins, second, third, and fourth. They have their little fight. Then you have DeMarco and Thompson. Thompson wins out for now. And then Lindgren has fallen back slightly of Brownell. But this is, again, helping Bejaran catch up a little bit. You see him lurking back there in that blue and white Mercedes. I don't think this fight is over. I think Lindgren's going to take a couple more shots here at Cooper. And, again, I think that's going to bring that 12 car in. So watch out for Armando Bejaran late here. He could take a stab at the top 10. I mean, he is right behind them now.
Definitely. We saw it get spicy at the end of the heat race. So I don't know. There's no real reason to suspect it being any different. You get to the end, and it's kind of do or die time.
Crudo here, early on the brakes there from Tiago. Of course, taking the defensive inside lane. Crudo a little more aggressive there at 13, back on power, but I think Tiago Tavela's got the advantage, back on power earlier. Oh, sideways out Crudo. Yeah, the tires are starting to give.
I was just about to say, it's about that time. Things are starting to get greasy.
Oh, they are on each other. Making contact down the front stretch. Devin Jenkins side drafting that big Ford Mustang to turn 1. He makes the pass for third.
Ooh, that's a lot of curve. Yeah, you want to stay off of that, but well held, didn't lose it. I mean, that was quite a save. That, I mean, it might be the maybe our near miss as far as today goes.
Possibly, yeah. We don't really have time for a replay now, but Miguel Alcrudo, we can go ahead and throw the graphic up. We can give him today's Murtis Esports Mega Miss because, man, he could have hit the wall, and thankfully will miss hitting the wall. That could have been big. Yeah. He absolutely, that's a tricky spot to get loose in this car, and it can happen on cold tires or worn tires like this. I had it happen a couple of times in testing just for myself to get used to this track, and yeah, it's a really tricky spot to get sideways. You're in power, trying to hold it wide open. You really don't want to have to lift, so that's a tricky spot. As there's a lap car here now for the battle for 9th. Cooper Brownell goes by, I think that was Braden Van Wingerden. And battle now here. Alcrudo gets back ahead of Jenkins. It's not over.
But he's still right behind him. He's going to be able to make a move down here into turn 1. You see the toe starting to work. We're going to get up right behind, leave it late. Don't give him a chance to defend. I like that. Just give it, that's a little bit of intimidation there, I think. Trying to kind of get in his head.
A little bit of
It's interesting he didn't try to make the move, but he's yeah.
Now battle here with Thompson and DeMarco. This is 6th and 7th. 3 great fights in the top 10 right now. That will stay a little bit stagnant. And then you have these two, Brownell and Lindgren. Buenaventura just behind. Bejaran has not continued to catch up, so he's still a little ways back. There's the opportunity for Lindgren. Cooper Brownell just goes wide, and now Zach Lindgren has the advantage into turns 3 and 4. And
keep that door shut.
Big burly BMW makes his way through. Zach's got it.
Again, that's those tires, man. I was telling you, these last couple laps, they start to get pretty slick. And the entry there, it's just, there's so many places where it just gets squirrely, and that was good heads-up opportunity. P9, there it is.
Meanwhile, Jose DeLeo coming around turn 14. This is going to be close. We have not gotten the white flag yet. There it is. It's going to be a buzzer beater white flag for Jose DeLeo. 3 seconds to go. He will get one extra lap here. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams, and Jose DeLeo is home free just about. He's got to keep executing here. Can't step too far wrong. His gap has dwindled. Thiago has eaten into it a little bit, but it's still north of 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, the only thing I would even potentially worry about is, you know, fuel running out if you got maybe an extra lap in, but I think you're good there.
We could see that for a lot of guys, actually. If we did go a lap farther than they were expecting, we could see this be a sudden fuel mileage race, this final lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This the battle for 9th and 10th. Armando Bejeron still trying to get there, but it looks like he might stall out a little bit. Everybody's tires are starting to give up. Somebody was out in the dirt there at turn 4. Pierre Thompson actually was slow. I think he was the car out there. He has lost the battle to DeMarco in 6th and Stevenson in 7th. And then here we go. Race leader. He won at Spa last time out. There's a battle behind him between Jenkins and Alcrudo. Jenkins now has the advantage. Jose DeLeo is going to come out of turn 14 and take the checkered flag here in Indianapolis. Let's see him to the line, and then the drag race behind between Jenkins and Alcrudo. Jenkins is going to have the advantage. He gets the spot. Jenkins takes the podium, and it's still not done for 10th.
That's great stuff. Really good finish. Good job for DeLeo. You saw the gap come down a little bit. Definitely well managed.
Zach Lindgren will power out of turn 14 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and will show up representing broadcasters far and wide. 9th place, top 10 for Zach Lindgren. Cooper Brownell has to settle for a 10th. And then Jeff Denardi and Mason Hausman. Hausman gets by for 13th at the last moment. Denardi going to try to get back there. Can he? No. Hausman takes 13th.
That's a great recovery. One more. That's 3 in a row. I mean, we know he can do a recovery drive.
This was a fantastic race. This was definitely, again, a showing of these AM guys being a little bit more patient and a little bit safer than the pros and pro-ams. I don't know what it is about them. They have kept their manners in check this season and are showing the pros what for as far as driving safety on the racetrack. Dan Sales, the final car. He will not finish, actually, so results should finalize in just a moment, and then we can take a look at your unofficial race results here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But Chris, that was a really good race. I'm honestly surprised it was as calm as it was.
Yeah, I mean, this tends to produce some pretty exciting racing with drivers playing chicken through the chicane, which, I mean, we really only saw once, and they worked out. I think we might have had a slowdown out of that, but that's best case scenario for that. Maybe it could be that the pros doing the race first, it does give you a little bit of, okay, well, let's not do that. I did see some of that in the in the Discord leading up this week to the race where people were saying, okay, guys, 3 into turn 1 doesn't work. So I think they were a little better prepared, and it's just still great racing. It's just so much fun to watch. It's close, it's tough, but it's really fair. Good show, always.
Well, it looks like results have finalized here for us. We can go through your unofficial race results here at Indianapolis. Jose DeLeo with the win. 2nd week straight now for Jose. We'll be talking to him shortly. Thiago Tabela there in 2nd. We'll be talking to him as well. Devin Jenkins just gets that 3rd place over Miguel Alcrudo, and Dean Kerr will complete the top 5. How about that for Dean? I know he's had a handful of bad weeks going back multiple seasons, so to have him in the top 5 tonight, that's good to see for Dean. Alex DeMarco showing up for Maradness as well to get 3 of their drivers actually with David Stevenson in the top 10. That is definitely showing what Maradness is made of here tonight. 5th, 6th, and 7th for them. Pierre Thompson goes 8th, Zach Lindgren 9th, and Cooper Brownell grabs himself a top 10.
All right, moving down to 11th, we got Mitch Benaventura, just barely misses out on the top 10 spot, but still a really good result for him. Armando Bayron, who we saw made up a lot of positions, great race from him. And another 3 for 3 good recovery drive from Mason Hausman, finished P13 from having to start in the back after the heat race. Then Jeff Denardi in P14. Christian Grisco with a pretty solid finish up in P15. Good to see. Mark Boley also 16th. Those are some really good results. 17th, Zachary Brandvold. 18th, Logan Smith. Diego Mello takes 19th. And rounding out the top 20 is Emiliano Almiron, who had a rough day, but I think he can definitely bounce back.
And he kind of flew under the radar, I think, of course, because of his damage. But he had a good recovery as well, frankly, to get back up to the top 20. So, yeah, I think props to Emiliano there. What could have been for him, right? But we know what he's made of now, and certainly I think he can still be a threat for the championship. Dominic Turcotte, 21st. Jordan Hendricks, the first car, one lap down in 22nd. Wilton Palermo there, 23rd. He was up front in the top 10 at one point, just kind of fell slowly and, well, I don't want to say methodically, but slowly and sporadically back, I guess. But ends up in 23rd. Anthony Wayan, 24th. Again, what could have been for him? I mean, he typically is up towards the front. It's not a great night for him. Armando Aarons, 25th. Braden Van Wingerden, I know he had some trouble out there. He ends up 26th ahead of Wayne Grennan. Bob Guadagnoli, Brendan Maddox goes out early, and Dan Sales there in 30th spot. Brendan, boy, again, he had a rough night tonight. Certainly look for him to bounce back at places like Mexico and Watkins Glen coming up. But that does it for the results actually in the feature, as Wolsifer and Allison did not start this race. So they will take no feature points this evening. We do have some drivers connecting, though, for interviews. We can go ahead and bring in, of course, Jose DeLeo, now two-time feature race winner in the North American Racing League. Jose, do you like the sound of that?
Wow, I just cannot believe it. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I do like the sound of that.
I think it suits you well, especially in that teal Corvette. I do wonder, when so many drivers have gone to front-engine cars like the Aston Martin, the Mercedes even, the Mustang, why have you switched over to a mid-engine Corvette?
For one, it's just visibility outside the car is one big issue for me. And I feel like the front end of the car it's smoother over bumps, if at least on my side. So yeah, car is a little bit snappy, it gets loose easily, but I mean, if you manage the throttle and you manage your entries really well, there's no big issue.
And of course, Mexico next up for the series. I think that's going to be a challenge for everybody. It's still a new track to the season, or to the sim rather. So I don't think anybody has too many laps around there. Have you gotten practice there yet?
Yeah, not so much. I think that track is the secret of that track is how well you manage those bumps. I'm looking forward to it. It's not one of my best tracks, but I'm up for the challenge. I mean, I've been lucky so far, so let's see what happens.
Jose DeLeo with a big night here at Indianapolis. Congratulations once again. You are showing up this season. It'll be a lot of fun to see how you do the rest of the season here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Jose DeLeo out front most here of the entire feature race. So not a whole lot as far as what he might know about the rest of the field, but Devin Jenkins certainly had some battles. Chris, he's headed your way.
Yeah, Devin Jenkins. So we don't have, let's see here. Devin Jenkins, yeah, P3, good result. You had a nice, quiet, well, not really a quiet day. Kind of some of it seemed to, but you had a really great battle there at the end with Tavella. And at the beginning, you had yourself in P2. Looked like you had a great opportunity to go to the lead, and then I saw you kind of checked up for Thompson. Can you kind of talk us through that? Did you think you could have found the pace, or was DeLeo just too far gone?
I think he had me on consistency for sure. That's my biggest struggle in this game, no doubt, is being consistent. I can tie a lap together, I'm pretty quick, but doing that's the problem. But yeah, behind Pierre, when he spun out, I thought I was gone. I thought I was dead for sure.
Well, it's very well held. It was a good save. I mean, you lost the position, which, that sucks, but you still finished where you gridded up for that race. I mean, P6 and then P3, so it's a very good race weekend for you. Your racecraft was particularly good. It didn't, we were kind of comparing the Pro-Am chaos to how clean you guys managed to keep it and make everybody look bad, honestly. So is that something you guys work on? Is there anything you do to work on the racecraft, like is practicing as an amateur driver, or is that just...
I definitely try to focus on racecraft. When I get into like an online official race, I don't overly try to worry too much about the iRating and try to keep it clean. It's more fun to keep it clean rather than crazy diving, and I think we all learned a lesson watching the pro race last week, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's some good experience. So I'm glad you had a good race. So that's going to be some solid points for you, and you've definitely got pace. I wouldn't be surprised we hear from you a few more times this season. Hopefully you can pick yourself up a race win somewhere in here.
Right on, Chris. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
And that's Devin Jenkins after a third-place effort here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we can go ahead and hand out today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day Vote Award. It's going to go to the guy who Devin ended up beating to the line. Yes, the 544 of Miguel Alcrudo is today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day. Ends up fourth, but I think he showed across the two races, across not just the sprint and not just the feature, that he has got this GT3 car figured out. He is going to be one to watch for the championship, and if he keeps putting consistent results like this together, he will be one to watch in the point standings. I'm excited to see where he ends up in the standings going into Mexico specifically as we enter the mid stages here of Season 9.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole season develops, because we saw leading into this race, there's a lot of close drivers, but Alcrudo's definitely got himself up there, and consistency, almost like Jenkins was saying, consistency is pretty key in this division, especially. If you can kind of keep yourself mistake-free, you can find yourself getting solid, good, consistent results, and he did just that today. I mean, he P2 in the heat race and P4 in the feature. That's a huge chunk of points, so that's a really good weekend to be proud of.
Next up for the AM drivers will be March 5th, right before the end of this iRacing season, so we are quickly approaching the mid-section of this schedule, and we're going to kind of finish this first half of the season actually, and then have a break, especially for the AM guys, about a month off until Watkins Glen in April, so some time for these guys to maybe sit back and kind of learn the cars a little more, especially when we could have some new regulations and BOP from iRacing in March with the Season 2 build, so who knows what can happen there, and who will actually have the advantage going into Watkins Glen. Then, of course, Suzuka, VIR, and Road America. Between those four circuits, I mean, those are some of the most commonly raced on iRacing, I think, and across, really, racing games as a whole. I think those four are kind of the standard. Throw in Daytona and Spa and even maybe Laguna Seca, and those feel like the standard across any racing game.
Yeah, for sure. These are definitely going to be tracks that a lot of drivers know a lot of. Some more than others. Like, for example, I'm not super familiar with Watkins Glen as far as racing on it a lot. But, I mean, even then, it's one of those things where it's like, I have a pretty narrow experience as far as I do the GT3s almost exclusively a lot of the time. And even I've raced quite a bit, like a few times on Watkins Glen. Suzuka always gets lots of play. It's really fun and open wheel. Very popular in the F1 games. It's just a lot of... it's just all so good. Nailed it this season.
And next up for us here at the channel, well, in just a few minutes, we'll be trading the curbs of Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the high banks of Southern National Motorsport Park with super late models on track in just a few minutes. It'll be the finale for the Sim Auto Racing Association super late models on track at the East Carolina Mixing Bowl, as I've been calling it, and I want that name to stick. High banks, 4/10 of a mile, real tight racetrack. Going to be a lot of fun. 173 laps coming up in just a few short minutes. And then Sunday morning, we get to Dover Motor Speedway. Some more high banks there with NASCAR Gen 7 Cup cars. And then Monday evening, we continue on with the NORL Retro Cup Series 2003 NASCAR Cup cars, just about 20 years prior to the Gen 7 we'll be racing on Sunday. We'll be taking those Gen 4 Cup cars out to Atlanta Motor Speedway on Monday evening. A lot of great racing coming up, a lot of great places to follow along, all across the links you see there at the bottom of your screen, but that will do it for us from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A big thank you, of course, as always, to our partners with the channel and the series. Of course, with the channel, you have Baradness, JS Consulting, with the series. Baradness, JS Consulting, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and Rocket Designs. And of course, with the channel, there we go, we'll have Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. That will do it, though, for us from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see you next time, hopefully in just a few minutes. Even Chris is going to try some oval racing here in a second, and we're going to go broadcast the Sarah Super Series finale from Southern National in just a few. We'll see you there.